forgot to plug this in. All right, give me 1 second. 1 second, y'all. I think. Hello. All right, cool. Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about how to save a relationship that's falling apart. And I do these YouTube lives every Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys do find this video content of value, let your friends know about it. Hit the like button, subscribe. But anyways, we're going to get right into the recap episode. And the recap episode that I'm going to be mentioning today is called Mental and Emotional Abuse. And it's an episode that I did on my previous live episodes on April 20th. So if you guys are ever interested, you guys can go back to that video too as well. And the slide that I'm going to be talking about today is the 4 predictors of divorce. So there's this guy named Dr. John Gottman. He was the one that I got the information from, and he talks about the 4 negative patterns that could predict a divorce or a breakup. He calls it the 4 horsemen or something like that. But number 1, it's criticism. Okay, so criticism, insults, or derogatory name calling, pointing out problems that they see in the other partner. So using negative words like negative descriptive adjectives, such as stupid, useless, uncaring, thoughtless, things like that nature. So criticism is stating an attack on the other person, and basically what you're saying is, I'm perfect and you're not. I'm perfect and you're not. How many people in here have ever experienced somebody like that just criticize you, but makes it seem like they are perfect and you're not? Okay. And number 2 is contempt, right? Which is the best predictor of divorce, which is defined by the feeling that a person or thing is beneath consideration, or they're worthless, or being deserving of being scorned, right? So just, talking down and stuff like that. So acting superior, talking down on them because you're placing yourself at a higher level, acting more superior than the other person. And there is no relationship where there is no respect. So contempt is disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. And if you can't respect the other person that you're with, what makes you think that the relationship that you're having is going to work out? Hello. And number 3, it's defensiveness. Okay, the 3rd horseman is defensiveness. They don't see themselves as a part of the problem. They only see the other person's wrongdoing. So you're also invalidating. Keyword is invalidating what the other person is feeling. There's a reason why they are saying this to you, becoming defensive and blame shifting, because when you blame shift, you're absolving personal responsibilities of yourself. Why isn't anyone usually? I don't know. Good question. So defensiveness gets in the way of solving problems together. So whenever you have an issue with your partner and you become defensive, or the other person becomes defensive, well, guess what? It gets in the way of solving problems. So you can't solve problems if you guys can't talk about it. And one of the most common things, especially in relationships, is one person over dominates the other person. Thank you, Armel. Thank you. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. So you're just yelling, trying to talk over the other person. And by the way, I don't think I'm clear anymore. I don't know why, but I look fuzzy. I look fuzzy, but as long as you guys can hear me well, that's the most important thing. Now, last one is stonewalling. So refusal to communicate with someone, that's stonewalling. What's up, Ida? Relationship is unlikely to succeed without communication and collaboration. So you need to communicate and you need to collaborate. Thank you, agent. Appreciate it. Stonewallers may pretend the problem disappears once they have felt like they've done enough punishment for you. So there's a lot of people that feels like, hey, you know what? What's up, Tracy? How you doing? There's a lot of people in certain relationships where they feel like, you know what, I punished this person enough. I'll talk to you again. Like, stonewalling does not solve anything. And stonewalling is mental and emotional abuse. And I mean, all of this is mental and emotional abuse. But these are the four horsemen: criticism, contempt, being defensive, and stonewalling. And these are the four best predictors of a divorce. And that's usually those reasons why. Is you're not being respectful. There's if you're not being respectful, obviously there's going to be a lack of appreciation. And everybody wants to feel heard. It doesn't really matter. Everybody wants to feel heard. And especially men, we like to feel appreciated, especially when we do certain things. And there is no relationship where there is no respect. So if you're a guy and you're watching this, you're going to have respect. Respect is the number one most important thing, and respect is to be earned, and it's not given to you. And if you demand respect and you don't even respect yourself, how are other people going to respect you? Okay, moving on. So for the first slide that I'm going to be talking about today is why relationships fall apart. So the question is, have you ever felt like there is a relationship that's falling apart despite your efforts? Despite your efforts, no matter how much you try, you feel like it's not moving forward. And if you ever ask yourself this question and you feel like you have not been successful at it, right now, right here is the best place for you to start asking questions. If you're watching this on a live, and if you're watching this on a rerun, ask questions on the comments below, all right? So there could be 1,000 reasons why. There could be thousands of reasons why a relationship is falling apart, right? A few to lay out would be lack of communication, lack of trust, different goals, and different values. Okay, those are just a few things to lay out. But on the surface, it's mainly the lack of intimacy. It's the lack of intimacy between you two. It's the lack of connection, right? How well do you guys connect with each other? So you could kind of say it's like the chemistry. It's kind of like the chemistry between you two. Now, as the man, as the guy in the relationship, as the masculine man in the relationship, and you could be a man and you can still be feminine too, right? Like, masculine and feminine energy does not have a gender, but you know, as the guy, me personally, I'm a masculine guy in the relationship. And as the man in the relationship, number one most important thing is that you should always be focused on your life purpose. I've said this many times. I'm gonna have to say it again, okay? You have to be on your life's purpose. Why? Because that should be the most important thing to you. The most important thing is your life purpose. Because if you don't even know how to lead your life, how do you expect your lady to follow you? How are you gonna expect that? So, and this could be anything that you ever want to put your mind into. Anything that you ever want to put your mind into. Yep, you could be the best plumber. You could be the best accountant. You could be the best lawyer, right? Anything that you want to do, or artist or whatever, right? Anything that you want, you know it is your drive, because you won't be able to stop thinking about it at night, and you're going to be obsessed over it. Now, all the while, balancing the time to date and court your woman. That's the most important thing. Why? Because once you're in a relationship, you want to be able to date her, and you also want to court her. Because if you don't date or court your woman, eventually another man will. So there's going to be more work being in a relationship than actually getting into one. Because in the beginning of the relationship, or you know, the honeymoon phase, things are easy. It's fun. It's light. It's very easy. Everything you talk about, you agree with each other. You love each other. Nothing could really go wrong if you think about it. And of course it is. It's the easiest part of the relationship. Otherwise, no one would want to ever go into a relationship thinking like, damn, I don't like this person, but I guess I'll be with them. Now, but remember that being in a relationship And usually after being in a relationship, after about 6 to 12 months, that's usually how long the honeymoon phase will last. Usually between 6 to 12 months. The number one question you want to ask yourself is how do you like being around this person? How do you like being around that person that you're with? Do you enjoy being around that person? Right? Think about your job. Just think of that as an example, right? Would you stay at a job that's constantly jerking you around? You're gonna try to find a way out. And there's steps to that. There's steps to that. Why would you? So now my question to you is, why would you ever allow anybody else to do that in your personal life? Why would you ever do that? So you want to start asking yourself, like, well, why is my relationship falling apart? And one of the best predictors of that is because there's a lack of trust. There's a lack of values. You don't have similar goals. You don't have similar values. You guys don't really align. And then everything else that kind of derives from that is, well, maybe it's your attitude towards the relationship. Maybe it's the attitude that you have within yourself. Because if you can't communicate with other people, then what makes you think that you could communicate with your partner? So you really have to spot out, like, that's why people go on dates, and there's a vetting process, which I'm going to be talking about in the next slide. There's a vetting process. Before you get into that relationship, you want to ask yourself, well, am I even qualified to be a boyfriend? Anybody could be someone's boyfriend, but can you be a good boyfriend? That's the main question. So slide number 2, vetting process and asking quality questions. Let's see. Demand respect. All right. Yeah, I see what y'all saying. I see what you're saying, but let's try to keep things relative to what we're talking about today, all right? And if you don't relate to this, it's okay. There's millions of other channels that you can watch, all right? But anyways, number 2 is the vetting process and asking quality questions. So you probably didn't vet your partner properly. You were like, oh, maybe this person's hot, and so I'm just gonna be around this person. And part of that is the foundation. It's the vetting process. It is the foundation. How are you properly vetting this person? Now, there's a quote that I love saying. It's by my coach, Coach Corey Wayne. He says that the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself and to others. So how well are you asking questions? You know what they say. It's kind of cliche where they say there's no such thing as a dumb question. But I truly believe that there is such thing as a good quality question. So what type of quality questions are you asking? So questions that you might ask yourself so that you can better understand that person is, well, what's their background like? Did she grow up with a father? I'm just using her as an example because I'm the guy, right? What's her background like? Did she grow up with a father? Who was the masculine figure? So if the answer is, well, no, she didn't grow up with a father, okay? Then who was the masculine figure in her family? Masculine, okay? Or maybe she says, yes, I did grow up with a father. Cool, that's nice, but who is the masculine figure? The main question is, yes, she might have a biological father, like he is born a male and he's the father, but is he the masculine figure in the family? Was there a masculine figure in that picture? Whether or not he is, So what I'm saying is, whether or not she has a dad or not, she has to have had a masculine figure in her family. And that's a good predictor. That's a good predictor of having a good relationship with your lady, is when she respects her father. Because why? If the woman, if his wife does not respect him, guess what's gonna happen when she sees it from the mom? She's gonna go out there and disrespect men and act in ways that is not very, that is almost rewarded in today's society. If you think about it, they go out there, they talk about high number counts. It's like, you're not really respecting yourself or your body, right? Does body count matter, right? So you want to properly vet the person that's coming into your life. So was there a masculine figure in the family? If not, okay, that's fine. There's still hope. There's still hope. Is she going to therapy? Is she working on herself? Is she understanding? Okay, is she understanding? Because the number one most important thing is, are you working on yourself? Whether it's her or it's you, you have to be working on yourself, because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. I still make mistakes, and that's okay, but it's learning from those mistakes. So, are you working on yourself? Now, the next question, if they answer yes, yeah, I'm working on myself, cool. What actionable things can you see that measures up to what she said she did? Okay, yes, I'm working on myself. I have anger issues, especially road rage. I actually have something for that too, freaky. My question is, why do you have road rage? Why? Why is it? Okay. Because it has to stem from something. So behind anger is always fear. And you want to ask yourself quality questions. So now we know certain facts. Behind anger is always fear. What are you fearful of? What are you fearful of? Because there's always an answer to that. There's always an answer. But hey, thank you for being vulnerable. Okay. Let's see. So what actionable things are you seeing from that person? What? And then the next question you want to ask is like, well, am I doing the best to become the person I want to be? Am I doing the best? Okay. Let's see what you said. Because people are stupid on the road, people brake checking or cutting you off. Yeah. You know what I've actually noticed? It's when people feel like they own the road. Okay. Because I used to have road rage. I used to be upset when people cut me off and brake in front of me. But it's usually because I acted out of a way that caused them to get heated. Because they don't know who I am. They don't give a shit. They just think, oh, this person did this, I'm gonna do this to them. Well, guess what? Now you're going back and forth. Eventually somebody's gonna get hurt. Eventually somebody's gonna get hurt. So it's like, well, maybe. And this is what helped me. My question to me was, because I had road rage, and this has a lot to do with your relationship too, because if you have a lot of anger and road rage, you carry that with you to your home, because you think it's okay for you to start like treating people like that on the road. What makes you think that you're not going to treat your wife like that? What makes you think that you're not going to treat other people like that? So part of being a guy, or part of being a masculine man, is to not lose your shit and not take shit from other people. And the common theme from that is, are you emotionally self-controlled? Can you control yourself? It just feels like they're looking for insurance money. I mean, that's the story that you believe in, right? That's the story that you believe in. If they're trying to, they're just trying to make money. I've never once thought about that. Maybe there are people like that. Maybe there are. But what I've noticed is, when I stopped being so aggressive when I'm driving, when I'm just kind of just driving around, I don't get any road rage. I don't. I'm like, hey, you know what? If they don't like me, fine, go ahead, speed up. And if they're brake checking me, I'm like, well, I'm gonna find an exit, because I'm not in a rush. And the number one most important thing to me was, the reason why I was always having this road rage was because I wanted to get somewhere. I wanted to be there. It's always a want. So, okay, well, if that place opens at 1, or I have to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, and it takes me 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get there, well, I'm gonna leave 45 minutes. So, which gives me an additional 15 minutes to mess around. Just 15 extra minutes. Why? Number one, there might be traffic. Number two, I'm not gonna be in a rush. And when I'm not in a rush, I'm always gonna be in a more centered state. I'm more centered, so I'm less likely to be bothered. Oh, so you're a female, okay? It's hard to control my emotions as I get older. As I get older, it seems like I'm getting angrier. Feels like I'm building up emotions until you blow up. Yeah, and if you think about that, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Why? The question is why. You want to follow your trail of whys. Okay? And this goes for relationships too. Like it's the same thing. If you can't even solve yourself that question of how to be less angry, what makes you think that you're gonna treat your partner better? You're gonna treat your partner with disrespect. You're not gonna respect your partner as much. You might say you do, but you still have a lot of things that you gotta be working with. So, this is not, I'm not trying to like, burst your bubble or anything like that. I'm just trying to like give you sound advice that is able to kind of take a step back, take a few steps back and be like, what is really causing me to be upset? And so that you could follow your trail of whys and then start answering certain questions, okay? Maybe you're upset about life. Maybe you're really upset about life. Things aren't going the way that you want it. And so there's certain things you might have given up. I know a lot of women out there that have given up on finding a guy. And I'm like, well, why? Why? Because you don't think there's any good men out there? Yeah. So drinking to you is like an add-on. It's like an add-on to whatever's already happening. So it's like that's not gonna help you. Right? Maybe are you an angry drunk too? So people like to be around people with good energy. And if you start going downhill, it's just this snowball effect. It just keeps going down and down and down. So what was that? So am I doing the best to become the person I want to become? Am I? That's the question. And what are my core values? Have you written those down? What are my core values that I would not compromise for? I will never compromise for someone that's a cheater. If you're gonna do something that it's like a betrayal of trust, you're gonna be sneaky about certain things. Especially like, no, I'm not gonna deal with that. That's not something I will ever compromise. So that's out the door. Person has to communicate. You might not want to talk about it right now. That's fine. I get it. You're upset, but eventually you're going to. Because why? Because that's what I stand for. I'm not gonna be in a relationship where you always want to feel like you're gonna be blowing shit up. So guess what? If I want someone that's loyal, guess what? I gotta be loyal. If I want someone that communicates, well, guess what? How well do I fucking communicate? How well do I communicate? I always, always, always make it as comfortable as possible for my lady in my life to be able to express herself. And not only express herself, but express herself in a safe way. Maybe she grew up unable to express herself because there's, certain people that whenever she tried to open up, she got shut down immediately. And then not only that, she was being scolded because she was being too emotional, right? And to me, it's like, no, well, guess what? When you're around me though, all your emotions, all you feel is valid. I don't care if it's not logical, okay? Because I know emotions are not logical. So talk to me. So now I'm creating this safe space for her to come to me whenever she wants. So why the hell would she ever want to do anything like that? Do you go live often? I come on here angry and just listen to you talk really calm me down. I do this once a week. So every Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're in a Central time, I don't know what that is. I really don't know. But yeah, I do this. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. It will help me out, But anyways, let's move on, all right? So what are those, what was that, core values? And, that's not what I would compromise for. There's certain things you just won't compromise for. And what are those? How do they look like? What does it feel like? And then, now, if you're ever in this, now, this is only if you want to solve problems with each other and you care about the other person. Because most people, when they think about getting into a relationship, they think about getting into a relationship thinking about what they could get out of it. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna get access to the box. Like, oh yeah, she's gonna give that up, right? Oh, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna feel loved. But most people, that's what they think about. Where in reality, you should be going into a relationship thinking about what you could give. Because what happens when you give is that you get tenfold in return, right? If you could give more, you're gonna get more back. And it's not an expectation type of thing, but it's more like you give because you can, not because you feel like you have to. You give because you can. Hey, Mitchell, it's Crystal. First time watching you live. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it. I know you're a little busy sometimes. But anyway, so when you want her to feel heard and understood. Now, I said this before, which is a woman needs to feel heard and understood, because eventually, if she does not, eventually another man will come in and take your place. So if you don't date and court her, eventually another man will. If you don't make her feel heard and understood, well, guess what? Some other guy's gonna be like, oh yeah, what's going on? What's on your mind? Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I connect with him so well. Right? Oh my God, he understands me. Yeah. So things like that, okay? So be careful. If you stop doing certain things like this, it's going to cause your relationship to go down. And that's part of the reason why most relationships fall apart, is because she doesn't feel heard and understood. She does not feel heard and understood. Now, questions you might want to ask is, if you're in this argument or disagreement, you might want to ask things like, well, what you want to ask her if she's upset and you're not sure, because you're just trying to ask questions. It's like, well, and this is questions by Coach Corey Wayne, so credits to him, all right? What does it mean, right? This is what you want to say. What does it mean when you say blank? What do you mean by blank? So whatever you're feeling at that moment, right? What do you mean by that? What does it mean when you say this? And what do you mean by blank? What does it look like? What does it look like? What would I have to do differently in order for you to feel like I'm giving you blank? Because, hey, maybe there's certain things that I'm doing or not doing that's causing you to feel a certain way. Maybe it's when you're talking to me and pretend there's a phone, right? And I'm just on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to you. So, yeah, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it look like? It looks like this. When you put down your phone and you talk to me, it shows that you care. Because whenever you're holding on to your phone, when you're talking to me, it feels like you're not even listening. And I want you to be there present with me. Okay. So what does it look like? It looks like this. It looks like, just put down your phone. I just want you to be there with me. Is that okay? And then you let the other person agree or disagree. Most likely they will agree, especially when things are calm. And yeah, so what will I have to do differently in order for you to feel like I'm giving you blank? Okay. And you can say certain things like, I'll tell my girl, I'll be like, look, I'm not psychic. I'm not psychic. I can't read your mind. I love you and I care about you and I want to support you, but I'm not understanding. Like, something's not clicking. If something's not understanding, like, I need your help to help me so that I can help us. So those are certain questions, okay? You can always rewind, go back, write it down. I think those would be great. I should send this to my boyfriend. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think your boyfriend would benefit a lot if he wants to learn from this, okay? Just a question. I dressed up nice and I felt good about how I looked, but my husband didn't say anything about it. So I felt like he was trying to spare my feelings. This made me feel really insecure. Maybe bring it up to your husband. Talk to him. Hint him a little bit. You could gently nudge him and be like, how do I look? And maybe it's because that's the other side too, is not being too complacent. Because when you could start, guys especially, you can start seeing signs of your lady losing interest when she's less enthusiastic about being around you. When your woman is in love with you, well, guess what? She's gonna want your attention all the fucking time. All the fucking time. She's gonna want to be around you. She doesn't want nobody else. No choice. Yeah. Let's see. So Okay, so my next point is most people they get into relationships because it's convenient. A lot of people think about it. It's like if you think about the world as it is today, and I said this before too. It's like just think about Amazon Prime. How quickly do you get your package? Within 2 days? If you're hungry, you don't want to go out, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on what you ordered. And if it doesn't come right away, well, guess what? You're gonna get angry, right? How many people got upset when your Amazon package did not come within 2 days as promised, and it came at day 3 or day 4 because of some sort of technical difficulty? Maybe something happened, right? How many people got upset? I know I do. I'm like, why the hell am I paying for Amazon Prime then? Why am I paying for Amazon Prime if it doesn't come in 2 days? What's up with this? And I feel like I'm obligated to be like, God, you need to compensate me. It's like, yeah, I felt that way before, but it's like, well, we always want things out of convenience. We always want things out of convenience. And then if you really think about that, look at how it kind of shaped us as a society. We want things that are convenient. Even look at dating apps like that. You don't even need to go out and talk to a woman anymore. Oh my God, I think you're absolutely fucking gorgeous. Holy shit. I need to talk to you for a minute. Girl, let me talk to you for a minute. Yeah, like, no guys do that anymore. Barely. Okay, there's still some out there. And the number one most important thing to a woman is confidence. If you're confident, it shows that you're competent. Because you're confident, you're competent, it shows a lot of, hey, he has leadership. He could lead. And so that's sexy as hell for a lady. And so guess what happens? Feminine energy, I'm talking about women and feminine energy. They love a man that knows how to lead because all they have to do is just sit back and relax. That's all they really have to do. The moment you have her take control over like, can you set the date and appointments for this and that, and have her like, what do you want to eat? And you don't even know what you want to eat. It's like you have her take control of, she doesn't want to do all that. She just wants to be on the fun bus with you. And if you're no longer the fun person on the bus, well, guess what? She's not going to want to be around you. I was like, because a person that doesn't know how to lead, that walks in circles, that thinks they're leading, it's, number one, it's misleading. And two, people aren't stupid, because eventually people will catch on to, okay, we've been around this path a lot and nothing's really changing. So where are you going? And so when that happens, she's going to be like, this is an imposter. This person's a fraud. He doesn't really know what the hell he wants. And now she feels stuck. She's like, damn, I've been in this relationship for like 7 years, 10 years, 20. I'm stuck. Now I got to, and then so you start playing stories in your head. Well, you know what? I don't want to just let it all go because it's been like 10 years. All right, then. So you want to stay in a miserable relationship. Go ahead. Because why? More than likely, there's a scarcity mindset. You probably don't think that there's someone better out there. But guess what? When you become better, there's always going to be options out there. I've never once thought about, oh my God, like when people were talking about like a job market, they were like, there's no work. I was like, there's always fucking work. What are you talking about? There's always work. Maybe you're limited. I don't know what you're thinking about, but there's always work. There's always money. For what though? For what? It's your mindset. So if I'll give you an example. Most people when they think about becoming a millionaire, okay? Look, if I gave you $1 million right now, someone just boom in your bank account, 1,000,000, right? You see that in your bank account. Most people think about what they could do to spend that $1 million. Oh, if I had $1 million, I'll buy X, Y, and Z. Not a lot of people would be like, damn, if I had $1 million, I would invest it into this so that it could keep growing. What does it mean if my boyfriend shows me that he loves me, but he doesn't really ask me questions about it? His action shows. So maybe there's something, so I don't know what your love language is, Kezia. Talk about it. Hey, I love it when so you want to encourage good behavior. I love it when you tell me things about X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 right? So if you could do that, Maybe you could encourage him to be like, I love it when you say this. It makes me feel blank. I love it when you tell me I'm pretty. Because when you tell me I'm pretty, it makes me feel wanted. And there's nothing more than me feeling the love of having you around. But you want to say this and you want to be genuine about it, right? So anyways, convenience, right? Most people think about convenience in a relationship. Oh, she came to me. She was trying to holler at me, right? Oh, she's pretty. She's fine. Okay, so these are all nice little bullet points, right? Sex is great, right? She's better than my ex. Like, it's convenient. Most people like things that out of convenience. Oh, she's closer to, like you start making excuses, right? And so the next thing is like, if this person isn't giving you what you want or what you need, are you able to walk away from it if it no longer serves you? And the biggest question is, are you settling? Most people settle in relationships. It's a very difficult question to answer, and it's harder to even take the leap forward. So, moving on. True, but I did tell him, and he's not an expressive person. We'll talk to him. Why is he not an expressive person? Find out his reason why. Because if you think about this too, right, Kezia, the moment where a relationship is no longer about the relationship and it's about you, it's when you start focusing on what you're not getting and what you're not receiving. That is when the relationship is no longer about the relationship. But if you can understand, so this is another thing you want to talk. I'm going to be talking about it on this slide. It's like perfect timing, but you always want to lead with empathy. And just try to find out why. Why is this person like this? Why? Lead with empathy. Okay, so hear me out. Is this the right relationship for me? That's my third slide that I'm going to be talking about. Have you given it your all? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Maybe you said, I had it up to here, and that's it, right? Do you like being around this person? Do you still enjoy being around this person? Did your view about this person change, right? Can you see yourself with this person for the rest of your life? Be honest with yourself. Can you? And are you going to deal with this nonsense? The question is, does this person make you a better person, or does it make you a bitter person? And I'm not saying this as a black and white where you have to be happy or sad. There's times where you can just be content and be like, hey, are you happy? No, I'm not happy. But are you mad or upset? No. I'm cool. I'm cool with myself. But I think I think you'll get bored after trying to find out anything about him for years and years. Yeah. And most people don't really think about it until it's like too late. And then guess what happens? Rejection breeds obsession. And usually about 75% of breakups are initiated by women, or divorces are initiated by women. And so when that does happen, and it's a unilateral decision, meaning it's you that made the decision, he's going to want to come back because, oh my God, I love her now. It's like, no, you didn't. Because if you did, you would have done everything. And now it's not until you took it wasn't until you walk out the door and then, oh my God, he realized. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time. It's like, look, you don't really want to go into the doctor's office when it's too late. So there's preventative things that you can do. And for most people, at least when you're here and you're watching this, like, maybe you're in this predicament. And most people, when it come to me, they only watching me when they have a problem. They don't think about like, damn, what can I avoid? How can I prevent this from happening? And it requires a lot of inner work. It requires a lot of asking yourself why. It requires facing a lot of your own shadows that you're unwilling to approach, because why? Fear is holding you back. But if you face fear and you just look at fear and, just kind of punch fear in the face and be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, look, it's really not as bad as I think it is. And just do it, well, guess what? You're gonna be a lot better. So, and I love this quote by Jim Rohn. And he says, I'll work on me for you, and you will work on you for me. That's the best thing that you could ever do for anybody. And you have to remember that it is not your job to change somebody. It is not your job to change another person. It is only your job to align yourself with a person with similar goals and similar values as you. Someone that's easygoing and easy to get along with. Isn't that a much better relationship than to be in a relationship, or being stuck with this person, or laying in bed with this person and be like, damn, like I can't get out. I'm stuck. That's the worst fucking feeling. So for me personally, I have high standards for myself. I have standards. Like if my lady is with me, I want her to feel like, damn, like I got the best man. Why? Because he does this, he does that, he listens, he cares, he understands. The last thing I ever want her is to feel like she's stuck. And I even tell her, I'm like, if there's ever a moment that you ever feel like you're stuck with me, just know that there's always a way out. But before you go out, I'm gonna always find a way in, so that you don't exit, so that I could prepare myself to figure out what is going wrong. Like maybe there's certain things that I missed, and that's okay because I'm human. But allow me to find a solution. I will find a solution. And if I can't, okay, then maybe, last resort, maybe we're not as compatible. But even if we're not, it's always gonna come from a loving place. I'm like, I do want you to, be happy. And if being happy is not with me, then I understand. Then that means that shit, maybe there's certain things that didn't align. Maybe there's certain things that I did too much that caused you to kind of walk away. But before that ever happens, I'm always gonna be analyzing how she feels. I'm gonna look at certain behaviors. If certain behaviors is like, maybe she's not calling me anymore, or maybe her texts or her phone calls is a little short with me, then I'm gonna be judging her interest based off that. And I'm like, okay, is there something wrong? Is it something that happened at work, or is it something that I did? Like, what's going on? What's on your mind? Talk to me. What's going on? Tell me more. Don't leave anything out. What else? Those are the best questions that you can ask. What else? What else? So, yeah, remember, it's not your job to change anybody. Okay, it's just your goal to change, to change yourself and to align yourself with someone that has similar goals and similar values. What's up? What's up? So, me personally, I like lifting people up. That's just me personally. Other people, they like kicking people down. Lifting, and some people, they pick and choose who they want to lift up, and they pick and choose who they want to kick down. I just choose to always be able, or find a way to lift somebody up regardless. That's my goal. That's what I always want to do. And what you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. And my focus is on lifting people up, becoming a better version of myself, improving myself, improving my dialogue, improving my vocabulary skills, improving my approach so that I could communicate with the person that I love. Now, there's certain people out there that, that likes kicking people down, and it's pretty low if you ask me. But there's a quote that I heard, which was really good, and it's only 2 words, but you repeat it, all right? And it says, "Hurt people, hurt people." So if you're hurt, you're gonna hurt other people. I wouldn't spend it at all. How can I escape from watching? There's a lot of questions. Hold on, let me finish this first. But hurt people hurt people. And if you're a person that's constantly trying to hurt other people, well, guess what? There's a lot of hurt in you that you're not able to let go of. I love. You just love the feeling of being flustered. That's all. You just love the excitement. You just don't like to be bored, Jordan. That's why you scroll around so damn much. But anyways, what I was talking about earlier was, you want to lead with empathy. So when hurt people hurt other people, you want to lead with empathy. That way, number one, you personally, you don't lose yourself. And you don't get lost in a process, nor do you want to lose yourself in that process. Because the number one most important thing is most people when they get into a relationship, they start to lose themselves. They attach themselves with this person, like, oh, this is who I'm with my other half. Yeah, it sounds cute and all, but it's like, no, you're your own person. Like, I'm pretty sure she doesn't always want to, you know, be your mommy all the time, picking up every little thing that you're, you know. It's like, oh, traditional woman. It's like, nah, that's bullshit. It's like, what can you do for yourself? There's certain things that you can do for yourself. And so you are your own individual. Don't lose yourself in a relationship. We also have to lift you as you do to us. Oh, I'm just doing my part. I'll tell you a little bit about myself after I finish this. All right, Kezia? So, you want to lead with empathy. So after all, you are what you attract. And you want to attract the right person in your life. Becoming bitter and upset at them isn't going to make you a better person. So you have two choices in life. You could either become bitter or you could become better. Which one do you want to choose? And if you think about it, humans, we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. We do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So what does that tell you? It tells you that becoming better, there's a lot of pain involved. Why? Because it's like, damn, I gotta face my fears. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta sacrifice all the food that all the good food that I'll be missing out in so that I could get the body, and I gotta read books. It's like, yeah, we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So that's why if you walk out there and you just look at certain people, there's way more people, low value people, than there is higher value people. And that's why there's a scarcity out there. There's not a lot of good men out there. Why? Because most men don't want to work on themselves. And the ones that do, props to you, man. Props to you. Same thing for women, but I'm just talking about men out here, right? Like, because everybody, you go, beauty's common. What's uncommon is work on yourself. That's uncommon. And I'm talking about, look, you might be financially stable. You might look good on paper, but out there, when it comes to your lady in your life or just women, you have zero self-control. That's low quality. That's low quality. You want to be good in every areas of your life. And if there's a place that you're lacking, well, guess what? There's a place of growth. There's a place of growth. Okay, so now, another question is, at which point, when did you stop putting your best foot forward? Right? Try taking a step back and think about it. Like, this process isn't easy. It's not as easy as like, damn, shit, where's my remote? Y'all misplace a remote or a phone or your keys. You're like, shit, where is it? And then guess what happens? The moment you find it, you're like, oh, it was here this whole time. It's like, it's always been here. It's like, and you just kind of feel stupid about it, right? It's like, oh, shit, how did I miss this? It's like, yeah, it's okay. It's not, it was always there. You just missed it. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up for finding your remote under in between the crevices of your couch. Like, that was the last place that you looked and you finally did it. Give yourself some more credit for actually finding it. And so that's the same thing about relationships too. It's like, when you do find it, there's still more work. There's still more work. It's like, oh, so that's the problem. Fuck, now I gotta work on that. All right. That requires a little bit more discipline. Okay. Now you want to be a person with discipline. Discipline equals freedom. I forgot who said that. Was it Jacko Willing? Jacko Willing? Discipline equals freedom. And do you want to be able to be free? Do you, like, because if you're here and you're watching this, most likely you want an extraordinary life. Most likely you want an extraordinary life, not a mediocre life. That's not what my channel is for. Okay, you want to have an extraordinary life, a life that you don't feel like you're settling in. So take a step back. Okay, and the last one is I just named it tips. Okay, tips, advice. Now you're asking me, well, Mitchell, you talked a lot. It's been almost an hour. It's been 50 minutes. What are some sound advice that could help my relationship? And this is not an easy pill to a lot of people, okay? Not a lot of people want to do this. But the quickest way to get anybody else changed is change yourself. Quickest way. guys would come to me and say, I want to get my ex back. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But let me ask you why. Because if you want to get your ex back, that's cool, it's attainable, but how is it going to be sustainable? Because eventually, nothing about you has changed. Eventually, she's still going to leave your ass. It's just a ticking time bomb at this point. And on top of that, she already lost respect for you, so why would she want to stay even longer? And on top of that, you're trying to chase her back down because she made the decision of leaving your ass. It's like, grow a set of balls, okay? And ask yourself, why do you want to get back with her? My question to you is, why don't you become a better person so that you could attract everybody? Well, not everyone's gonna like you, but you know what I mean. You could attract way more people, and guess what? Of those people, of that crowd that you're gonna attract, if your ex decide that she wants to come back, you at least have options for yourself. And I'm not saying like, damn, I got options, I'm better than her. But it's more like, well, then you get to really decide, because then you will have more opportunities for yourself. And the myth of this whole she's the one or he's the one, that's a myth. Okay, there's it's soulmates for everybody. There's more than one, okay? They did it once, they're gonna do it again, right? So it's like, and most people don't change. Most people don't change. And so that's why it's an easy quote to read. I'll say it again. The quickest way, I say quickest, it doesn't mean it's fast, okay? The quickest way to get someone else to change is to change yourself. But changing your mindset, changing your thought patterns. Because if you're able to change those thoughts, those feelings will become certain type of behaviors. And if you're and whatever your behavior, your action is, that's what's going to cause you to build a habit of becoming. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of people out there. Michael Jackson, I love Michael Jackson, by the way, so thank you for bringing him up. Rest in peace. Legend. Yeah, quickest. And when I say quick, I'm talking about years. I'm talking about years. So, you know, most people, they underestimate, they overestimate what they could do in 12 months, but they underestimate what they could do in 12 years. So the best investment is yourself. You just gotta find a passion for it, becoming better. That's really it. And if they decide to not change, then you aren't really a priority. So it's the best. So I would even take an extra step, Kat, and say that it's not even about you, it's about them. So that it's less attached to you. So it's not like you're not the priority. They don't even prioritize themselves. What makes you think that they will want the relationship to get better if they don't even want to be better? So it's really about them. It's no longer about just that. So so there could be there could be a possibility that your current best self right now isn't enough for them. And my question is, are you taking personal? Are you taking that personal, and why? So, are you quick to get angry? You know, some people are. Behind anger is always fear. You want to practice infinite patience with yourself and with others as well. So, but it really starts with yourself first. Are you both going to try to communicate, or are you just gonna, you know, kind of topple over another person? I know there's certain people out there that whenever I'm talking, they need to talk louder so they can feel heard. I'm like, I tell them, I'm like, I'm not really listening to you right now, because number one, it's unfair. You're not even letting me talk, and you're just being loud. So that's whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. I'm just like, I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this. If you want to talk to me, you're gonna have to talk to me in this tone. So I'm setting boundaries. I'm not upset about it. I'm like, hey, you're talking to me very disrespectful, and that's not how I tolerate things. So if you can't talk to me more reasonably, I'm gonna have to hang up. Can we talk? Like, can we talk? I'm asking you, can we talk? And not yell. And can we listen to each other? If we can, then great. If we cannot, we can do it another time. And if we do this quote unquote another time too many times, there's not going to be another time. There's not. And I just walk away. The the best negotiation, the best negotiating position is to walk away and mean it. And when you walk away and mean it, people finally find value in you when they don't have you anymore. But that's also if you build yourself up too, right? Seems like when I'm alone, I get angry. Why do you get angry? So, look, so freaky. Like, if you haven't noticed, I asked a lot of whys. I asked you a lot of whys. And it's because you want to follow your trail of whys. And I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of things that you want to answer. I understand that. But just know that this is a great place. It's a safe place for everybody to open up, as long as you're serious about it, right? If you're not serious about it, you know, it's fine. And you just want to sit back and listen, that's cool too, right? But also, I don't tolerate disrespect over here. I block people. I don't need their subscribers or whatever if they're gonna like fuck around. I really don't need that. So just know that this is always a safe place for people to communicate. All right. And so let's see what else. Oh, okay. Are you both trying to communicate? That's what I was talking about earlier. So are you committed to this relationship? And how are you gonna rebuild this type of trust that you have? The most important thing of all those questions that I was asking is none of these questions matter if your intentions isn't to become a better person. Like, it doesn't matter. All this does not matter. It really doesn't. Most people say they want to change, but they're just saying words. They're not doing any type of actions of changing. So when shit really hits the fan, I used to have anger issues when I'm driving, road rage. I really did. And I get angry. And I'm like, why the fuck? Now when I do it, I joke around with it. I'm like, God, why the fuck? I was like, no, just go ahead. It's all good. And guess what? If you just let people go and you're not as urgent to go anywhere, just take it at 50. So if it takes you 30 minutes to get there, leave 45 minutes early, okay? Or maybe even 50 minutes. And then just see how much calmer you become when you are no longer in a rush. Just think, that's such a simple thing to do. 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, just go a little early. And then the next time you stop at a stop sign with two people, with you and the other person on your right or your left, just do this. Just don't do this because it just feels like you're rushing them. Like, go ahead, right? Just be like, just smile, just go ahead. It's all good. It's all good. Go ahead. Yeah. All of a sudden, y'all became homies. All of a sudden. Same thing applies to life. Slow down. Be present. Absolutely. Slow down. Go ahead. And then do it with a smile. That's a little, sprinkles on top. That's a little cherry on top. Less rush. Slow down. Yeah. But yeah, I was talking about your intentions. None of that will change if your intention isn't to try to become better. People say that, oh yeah, I'm better. I'm like, no, you're not. I have not seen anything. I haven't seen anything. I know, because why? Because I know how difficult it is to change. I know how difficult it is to be like, damn, like this is how much fucking work you gotta do. You gotta read. You gotta understand it. You gotta remember it. And then when things happen, you gotta be more controlled. Shit, that's a lot of work. And you could call this a technique. It's being able to take a step back. When someone does that, take a step back. When you're about to be angry, take a step back. So, seems like Freaky said, it seems like I get angry when I'm alone. Take a step back. Why am I angry? What am I angry about? Can I be doing something that I like? If anything, if you can't be happy being alone, then then it's almost impossible to be happy with another person. Okay. So, let's see. What else do I have? Okay, so the overall theme of this slide is to find a balance of emotional self-control and the desire to become better. Okay, the desire to become better and having self-control. I want to just talk about this quickly, which is about a high value or high quality man. Okay, I don't really like the term high value. Good quality person, good qualities. Person with good qualities or great qualities is a person that has self control. So a good man, self control. He's not easily tempted with desires, because if you think about that, he becomes a liability for most people, especially if he's in a relationship and he's easily tempted by other women. That's a liability. Okay, for me it's chips. I like chips. So need self-control, right? I'm not promoting this, but self-control. I like chips. Okay, that's my only weakness. That's my only weakness. Chips. So being able to have self-control emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. Can you control yourself? Are you able to control? Are you able to do better? Go to the gym. Work on yourself physically. Are you feeding yourself internally? Feeding yourself well? Are you educating yourself? What do you have spiritually so that you can escape reality from time to time? What do you have? For me, I like dancing. I enjoy dancing. Dancing's my therapy, if you will. Something that kind of gets me going. I'm like, that was fun. All right. And if I get to do more of those things that I like and enjoy, I'm immediately, almost instantaneously, a better person. And more people will want to be around me because of that. And the byproduct of that is more people are attracted to that. So what does it mean? You just get more opportunities, right? The only machine I use at the gym. That's funny. All right, so yeah. With all this being said, though, I know it's not easy, and as humans, like I said before, we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. But if you want an extraordinary life, these are some of the steps that you have to do. But if you want a mediocre life, you could not do anything and just live the way you are. That being said, that is the show. I have summary that I'm going to be talking about. Okay, so just a few points for each slide. Summary, slide number 1. Why relationships fall apart. There could be many reasons. Right? And as the man in the relationship, you should always focus on your purpose, your life, your mission. All the while, if you are in a relationship, you have to balance and understand. You have to date and court your woman. That's what you got to do. You have to date her. You have to court her. You have to make sure she feels heard and understood. 2 biggest reasons why most relationship falls apart. And I'm not talking about disrespect. You could be a respectful person and nice and confident, but if you don't date and court your lady and she does not feel heard and understood, she's gonna leave. So on paper, people be like, oh my God, this person, he's hella nice and he does this, he does that. Yeah. But you don't date her, you don't court her, she doesn't feel heard, she doesn't feel understood, she's gone. And so what does it tell you? It tells you that even if you are a great person, on paper, kind, gentle, wouldn't hurt a fly, which I find weak. That was funny. On paper, you're good, but it doesn't mean that she won't leave, okay? And that's not to excuse her behaviors. I don't know anything about her. I don't know if she's a loyal person or not. Like, I'm just talking about if this is you on paper and you're all this already and you don't date her and court her, you're like, oh, where did I go wrong? Well, that's probably it. She doesn't feel any type of connection. So it also tells you that woman needs to feel certain things for you. So if you don't give her that feeling, well, guess what? She's not going to want to be around, okay? Number 2, vetting process. Asking quality questions. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself and to other people. What are you asking? And so, you might want to ask, like, oh, does she have... who was her masculine figure in her life? And if she doesn't have that, that's fine. Okay. Is she working on herself? Is she blaming other men? Like, what's all this happening? Because in today's society, a lot of people, especially women of beauty too as well, they get away with being kind of like, what's that word? I can't even think of that word. Starts with the letter H. I don't want to say it. Uh, like she gets rewarded for those certain behaviors, like having high body counts and all this. It's like society rewards that type of behavior, and on top of that, it's easier money for them. Yeah, they don't really need to think about it, but there's a lot of consequences. You can ignore reality, okay? You can ignore the reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. So, masculine figures, okay? Who did she look up to? Did the mom respect the dad? Does she respect her dad? And I'm not saying respect as oh my God, like he whooped my ass, like I'm afraid of him. There's a difference between being afraid of someone and respecting someone. You can still be afraid of them, but you can still be like damn, I respect this person. There's a difference. So, moving on. Is this relationship right for me? Because what? Hurt people hurt people. I don't know what kind of relationship you're in right now, but if you're in a relationship and that person's constantly hurting you, they constantly hurt themselves. So you want to lead with empathy. That way you don't get lost in the process, nor do you lose yourself. So right now you're trying to attract the right person into your life. Maybe that person might not be there for you, or maybe that person in front of you right now might not be the best person for you. And that's fine. That's fine. But if you want to continue to stay in this relationship, you'll also want to look at your downside risk. What's the risk about being with this person? Because I've seen people age when they were in a bad relationship. I'm like, God damn. Class of 1996. I don't even know what age that is right now. Class of 1996. God damn. Damn, you old. Are they in the 40s, 50s? But they look old. They look old, right? Yeah, they're just upset and they're bitter about life. It's like, yeah, it's not very. I know someone that always constantly complains on social media. Like they just complain, whether it's a post or a story or whatever. I'm like, you just complain all the time. I was like, what? When would? I've never seen you be grateful. It's super rare. Super rare. Anyways, tips. Quickest way to get somebody else to change is to change yourself. What are you doing? Who are you becoming? What do you want to be? Then you can align yourself with the right person. That way, you can align yourself with the right person. So, now, that being said, was there ever a time where you felt like you were stuck in a relationship? And if you have, I'd like you guys to share a story. Leave it in the comments below. Subscribe if you'd like some more of these relationship advice. Watch my other live videos that I've done. I do this once a week, so you can look at that too. And thank you guys for watching. I catch you guys on the next live next Saturday. All right.